The knock came at midnight. Sharp. Twice. The widow froze. Her hands trembled. She waited. The knock came again. She opened the door a crack. A man stood there, hat pulled low, eyes narrow. "Evening," he said, his tone heavy. "You know why I'm here?" Her voice shook. "No, I don't." He smiled thin. "You do. Your marriage. The one no one knows." She gasped. Her knees almost gave way. "Quiet," she whispered. "Not here." He pushed the door wider, stepped inside. His boots left marks on the rug. "You hid it well," he said. "Widow, remarried. Pension still coming. Clever, but costly." Her mouth went dry. "You can't." "I can." He tapped his pocket. "Letter here. Proof signed. One word, and they cut your pension. They drag you to court. Your shame, your ruin." She backed away, her breath short. "What do you want?" "Money. Regular. A share of your pension. Or I speak." Her heart thudded. "I don't have it." "Find it." He leaned close. "Next week. Same time, or everyone will know." He turned to leave. She caught his sleeve. "Please, don't do this." He pulled free. "You think tears will stop me?" He laughed low. "You'll pay." He stepped out into the dark lane. The widow clutched the doorframe. Her chest rose fast. Then she saw it. Not just him. Another figure, standing still, watching from the shadows. The bell rang as the door opened. The widow stepped in. Eyes turned at once. Whispers moved through the bakery. Low. Cutting. They say she lied. Pension fraud. Secret marriage. Dolly Bantry stood near the counter. She pretended to choose buns. Her ears caught every word. "Caraway's gone again," the baker muttered. He frowned at his tray. No seeds left. Strange. Always strange these days. Miss Marple raised her brows. She pointed lightly. "Odd flower marks there. Near the shelf." Someone brushed a handful. "The—" Baker nodded slow. "Not my doing. I keep stock neat. Someone's hands where they shouldn't be." The widow clutched her basket tight, her knuckles pale. She avoided their eyes. A woman hissed. "Widow still takes her pension. Husband in ground. Or so we thought." Another laughed sharp. "Not so. She had another. Quiet, hidden, shameful." Dolly turned. "Careful," she said. But the whispers grew louder, every word heavy, every glance sharp. Marple leaned closer to Dolly. "Gossip spreads faster than truth. But see the flower, it tells more than tongues." Dolly frowned. "What do you mean?" "The pattern." Marple's finger traced the floor. Dragged heel. A small twist. Someone carried weight last night. Dolly's lips pressed tight. "Then she is marked." The widow dropped a coin. It rolled across the tiles. She bent, trembling. Her veil slipped, her eyes red. The baker pushed the coin back. "Keep it. You'll need it more than me." His voice flat. Dolly swallowed. They will never forgive her. Pension fraud, they say. A crime to some, worse than theft. Marple's gaze stayed calm. "Sometimes, Mrs. Bantry, silence hides mercy. Sometimes it hides chains." The widow's shoulders shook, but she said nothing. Paid for her loaf. Moved to the door. The room thick with whispers. Every step she took, another hiss followed. Marple tugged Dolly's sleeve. "Do you notice? No one eats the caraway buns. They vanish, yet never sell. Someone takes them. Quietly. Always." Dolly glanced back at the empty tray, her mouth dry. "Then what does it mean?" Marple did not answer. She looked at the widow leaving, then at the flower marks on the tiles. Her eyes narrowed. The widow reached the door. Her hand shook on the latch. She stepped out, the bakery quiet for one breath. Then a sound split the air, a scream from just outside. The bell at church struck once, then silence. A boy ran down the lane, face white. "Body," he gasped. By the gate. Villagers hurried. Shoes scraped on stone. Murmurs rose. The man lay still. Face turned aside. Hat missing. Coat torn. Someone whispered, "It's him, the stranger, the one who came last night." The widow's basket fell. Her loaf rolled into dust. Her eyes fixed on the body. Her lips parted. Then she collapsed. Dolly rushed to catch her arm. Inspector Slack pushed through the crowd. "Stand back," he barked. He bent over the man, fingers pressed to neck. "No pulse," Slack said. Head struck the gate. Likely drunk. Likely fell. A constable nodded. "Accident, then. Easy enough." Marple's eyes narrowed. She crouched low, her gaze not on the head, but on the ground. She saw scuff marks. A heel dragged. Not a stumble. A pull. Slack straightened. "Nothing more to see. Move him to the shed." Widow fainted at the sight. No surprise there. Dolly whispered. "But she knew him, didn't she?" Marple said nothing. The widow stirred. Her eyes opened. Her lips moved. He said he'd return. Then she shuddered. Slack frowned. "What's that?" But she turned her face away. Earlier twist came fast. One boy shouted, "There's no hat." He held up a boot instead. A single boot, not matching the pair on the body. Slack grunted. "Dropped it earlier. No matter." Marple looked closer. "No, that boot is wrong. Different sole. It belongs elsewhere." Slack shifted uneasily. "Leave details to us, Miss Marple. We'll make report clean. Accident stands." But Marple's eyes lingered on the corpse. The torn coat, the missing hat, the odd boot. Villagers muttered. Some pitied the widow. Others smirked. "She's cursed. Brings death to her door." The widow sobbed. Dolly held her tighter. "Don't listen. Don't." Slack rubbed his chin. "Stranger. No papers. No coin. Who was he? A vagrant? A thief?" Marple rose slowly. "Not a thief. Look there." Her finger pointed to the hands. Clean nails. No soil. Not the hands of a wanderer. Slack shifted again. "Well, he's dead either way." He turned to the constable. "Mark it as misadventure. Nothing more." Marple's voice cut in. "Then explain this." She pointed at the man's shoes. The villagers leaned in. Slack followed her gaze. He stiffened. "Those soles," Marple said softly. "The mud on them. Not from here. From somewhere else entirely. Cliffhanger." She looked at Slack. "Wrong mud, Inspector. Wrong place. Wrong story." Whispers spread faster than bread. Every corner, every table, every mouth. She lied. They say her pension was stolen. Married again, yet called widow. The widow walked through the lane. Eyes followed. Tongues wagged. Children pointed. Dolly held her arm. "Don't listen." But the widow's face stayed pale, her steps weak. At the station, Slack sat waiting, chair tilted back, notebook open. "Sit," he ordered. The widow obeyed. Her hands clenched. "You knew the man." Her eyes darted. "No." Slack leaned forward. "Don't play. He came to you. Last night. Demanding money." Her voice cracked. "I don't know him." Slack slammed his palm. "Enough. Villagers talk. They say you married again. Kept it hidden. Took pension you weren't due." "Is it true?" The widow gasped. Tears welled. "I had no choice." Slack smirked. "Ah, so you admit it. Secret husband. False widow. That makes motive." She shook her head hard. "No, I never harmed him." I feared only exposure. Slack scribbled fast. Fear leads to murder. You wanted silence. He got silence. Permanent silence. Dolly burst out. That's unfair. Slack ignored her. Marple sat near the corner. Quiet. Still. Her knitting idle in her lap. Eyes sharp. She studied the widow's fingers, clutching the edge of the chair. Knuckles white. Nails uneven. The widow whispered. He said he would ruin me. I begged. I cried. But I never struck him. Slack's tone hardened. You were last to see him alive. You gained the most from his death. What else do I need? Marple spoke for the first time. Evidence, Inspector, not gossip. Slack shot her a look. Leave police work to me, Dolly muttered. Without her, you'd still chase shadows. Slack grunted, but wrote nothing. The widow rose suddenly. I want no more questions. I will say nothing. Slack blocked her path. You'll say everything in court. Fraud, lies, murder, all of it. She swayed, nearly fainting again. Dolly caught her elbow. Enough, Inspector. She's half dead already. Slack's jaw tightened. She'll talk, or she'll hang. Marple's gaze did not move. She noted his words, measured his tone, watched the widow's collapse into silence. The widow stumbled home with Dolly beside her. Her door shut behind. The lane stayed quiet. Hours later, she found it. An envelope on the table. No stamp, no name. Her fingers trembled as she tore it open. One line, thick in ink. You will hang. The pantry door would not open. Dolly rattled the handle twice. It stayed firm. Strange, she muttered. Never locked in this house. The widow's face drained. I never touched it. Dolly bent close. A smell drifted out. Heavy, greasy, not food, not clean. She wrinkled her nose. That's no butter. That's tallow. Slack walked in behind them. Saw the door. He shrugged. Locked doors prove nothing. Could be jam. Could be meat. Dolly glared. Then why hide it? Slack smirked. Housewives panic. They forget. Or they fear shadows. Marple spoke at last. Her eyes stayed fixed on the latch. Tell me, Inspector, do you know your knots? Slack frowned. What's that to do with this? Marple's tone calm. When someone ties a thing, their hand shows in the habit. A neat double knot tells more than a signature. Dolly blinked. What are you suggesting? Marple's fingers touched the string looped round the handle. See here. Tight. Doubled. Drawn with care. Not a careless lock. A habit. Slack grunted. You read too much from thread. Marple's eyes narrowed. Thread, grease, dough, soot. They all tell their tale. If one listens. The widow clutched her shawl. I never locked it, I swear. Dolly whispered. Then who did? Slack waved his hand. Enough riddles. I'll have a constable break it. But the widow stopped him. No, not yet. Let me fetch the key. She walked to the wall hook. Her hand froze. The hook was bare. No key hung there. Her breath caught. She turned slowly, her eyes wide. The key, she whispered. It's gone. The smoke came sudden, thick, sharp. The widow coughed. Her eyes stung. She waved her hands. The fire's choking. Dolly rushed to the hearth. Flames weak. Smoke pouring back. Slack swore. Chimneys blocked. A constable fetched an iron rod. He poked upward. It hit something soft. The rod pushed. A lump fell. Dough. Half-baked. Blackened outside. Still damp inside. The widow screamed. Who would do this? Slack scowled. Someone playing tricks. He kicked the dough aside. Not worth fussing over. Marple leaned forward. Her eyes followed the soot. She touched the edge with her needle. The ash crumbled fine. This was packed tight, she said. Not thrown in. Pressed. Shaped by hand. Dolly stared. You mean someone needed this? Not by accident. Marple nodded, slow. The pressure lines show fingers, even the fold where it was turned. Slack waved her off. You see mysteries in crusts. It's nothing. Chimney, soot and dough. Children's mischief. Marple's tone stayed quiet. No child needs bread for a chimney. This took skill. Habit. Someone who works with dough. Daily. The widow clutched the table. Her voice shook. I know nothing of this. Nothing. I swear it. Slack stepped closer. You expect us to believe? First a locked pantry, now a stuffed chimney, and always under your roof. The widow's knees buckled. Dolly caught her arm. She's faint again. Inspector, you press too hard. Slack grunted. I press where guilt lies. Marple tapped the blackened lump, her eyes fixed. Caraway, she murmured. Tiny seeds clung inside. Same as the missing buns, Dolly gasped. So it links back. The tray, the gossip, all tied. Marple folded her hands. A baker's touch, a widow's house, and a chimney turned to trap. Slack shook his head. You chase threads, I chase crimes. This proves nothing. Marple's eyes stayed on the dough. It proves habit. Someone practiced, someone who knew how to knead, how to fold, how to press tight. The widow sobbed. I swear again I never touched it. I never baked that. I never saw it. Dolly whispered in her ear. We believe you. But someone does not. The room fell still. The constable scraped the hearth clean. Ash and crumbs scattered. Marple's gaze did not lift. Her voice soft but firm. This is not a prank. It is a warning, and warnings grow sharper. The widow shook her head. I am cursed. Nothing else explains it. Dolly leaned close, her voice low. Then who needed it? Slack opened the coat. Papers slid out, crumpled, stained. He spread them on the desk. Look here, he said. Names, many names. Dolly leaned closer, her face drained. All widows. Marple adjusted her glasses. She touched the corner lightly. Flour smudged the page. White dust clung to the ink. See that, she said. Not dirt. Flour. Fresh. The hand that wrote this worked with dough. Slack frowned. Or he dropped it in the bakery. Don't stretch, Dolly whispered. But why so many widows? Why? Only them. Marple's gaze sharpened. He hunted secrets, each woman hiding something. He fed on silence. The widow's lips trembled. She pointed at the paper. Mine is there. My name. Slack tapped another. So is Mrs. Finch. She lives near the mill. Dolly nodded. And Mrs. Gray. Her pension doubled after her husband's death. Whispers always followed. Marple's voice low. He had leverage over all of them, but one name matters more than the rest. Twist came sudden. Dolly gasped. Miss Marple, your name is here. The room froze. All eyes turned to her. Slack smirked. So the great detective hides secrets too? Marple's expression calm. No, that line is false. Notice the handwriting. Different slant, ink darker, added later, to mislead. Slack scowled. Convenient answer. Marple ignored him. Her eyes scanned the margin. See the smear? A thumbprint. Grease mixed with flour, not the blackmailer's hand. Another's. Dolly whispered. Then someone else touched these papers. Someone close. The widow swayed. Her hands shook. She clutched the edge of the table. Slack leaned in. You look nervous, madam. Care to explain? She cried out. He promised not to tell. The cups clicked on the tray. Dolly poured. Marple sat quiet. You're too calm. Dolly said. Marple looked up. Noise hides truth. Silence shows it. They sipped in stillness. Dolly broke first. Everyone blames her. They say she cheated the pension. They say she killed to cover it. Marple's eyes stayed sharp. She may have lied, but lies and murder are not the same. Look at habits, not stories. Dolly frowned. Habits? Marple nodded. Knots tied twice. Caraway seeds where none belong. Grease that isn't butter. Soot shaped by fingers. Small things. They speak louder than words. Dolly shivered. And they point where? Marple leaned back. They point to hands used to work. Dough. Someone with practice. Someone who needs a second nature. Dolly whispered. The baker. Marple didn't answer. She only stirred her tea slow. The widow entered, her eyes swollen. She dropped into the chair. I can't bear it. Everyone watches. Everyone whispers. I see their faces. Dolly reached across. Drink, dear. Sit. The widow shook her head. Her voice cracked. He said I would be ruined. Now he's dead, and still I am ruined. Her tears fell fast. She pressed her hands to her face. Marple studied her fingers again. Nails broken, skin cracked, not the hands of one who worked dough daily. You're afraid, Marple said. Fear leaves marks. You hide, yet you never strike. The widow looked up. Then who strikes in my name? Before Marple could reply, Dolly stiffened. She pointed. At the table, a smear of soot on the cloth. Where did that come from? She whispered. The widow stared. I don't know. I never touched soot. Marple's voice soft. Then it was placed, to remind, to threaten. The room grew tense. The widow trembled. Will they hang me? Even if I never... Crash. Glass shattered. A stone flew through the window. It rolled to the floor. A paper tied tight around it. Dolly bent, unwrapped it. One word in thick black letters. Liar. The widow's voice cracked first. I must tell it. I cannot bear the silence. Dolly held her hand. Then speak. Say it plain. The widow shook. I married again. Quiet. No one knew. I feared losing my pension. That money kept me alive. Without it, I would have starved. Dolly gasped. Then the whispers were true. The widow nodded, shame in her eyes. I lived in fear. Each day, fear that someone would find out. And he did. The man at my door. He knew. He mocked me. He wrote it down. He said he'd tell. Marple's gaze never wavered. And you gave him money? I gave what I could. But it was never enough. He wanted more. Every week. He said he owned my silence. That he could end me with one letter. Dolly bit her lip. So that is why you looked so broken at the bakery. The widow sobbed. Yes. His eyes followed me. His words cut me. And now he is dead, and still I am hunted. Marple folded her hands. Secrets breed danger. A lie feeds those who feed on fear. You gave him your fear, and he made it his trade. The widow covered her face. What else could I have done? If I told, I lost my bread. If I stayed silent, I lost my peace. I chose silence. Marple leaned closer. And silence drew the wolf to your door. Dolly whispered. Then she is ruined no matter what. How cruel. The widow turned to Marple. Will you help me? Will you clear me? Marple's tone stayed steady. I will see truth spoken. But truth is heavy when it comes late. Do you understand? The widow nodded weakly. I do. I was wrong to hide. I was wrong to live in shadows. The door burst open. Slack strode in, face dark. He slammed the papers on the table. Enough of lies, he barked. We have enough. A hidden husband. A stolen pension. A blackmailer dead at your gate. What more do we need? The widow gasped. Please. Slack cut her off. You're under arrest. The baker wiped his hands. Ridiculous, he said. I never touched the oven at night. Slack crossed his arms. You were seen near the shop. The baker shook his head. Not me. I sleep by 9. Always. Dolly's eyes narrowed. You were angry that morning. You said Caraway had gone missing again. The baker snorted. Annoyed. Yes, but annoyance isn't murder. Nor chimney stuffing. Marple's gaze lowered to the counter. The wooden peel leaned there. A faint shine glistened near its edge. She touched it lightly with a needle. The residue smeared. Greasy. Thick, not butter. Tallow, she said. Pressed into the wood. Used to. Block smoke. Used in the widow's chimney. The baker stiffened. Coincidence. Tools gather all sorts. Slack leaned in. You expect us to believe a smear means guilt. Marple's tone stayed calm. No smear speaks alone. It speaks with the seeds, with the knots, with the soot. Together, they form a handprint. The baker flushed. You twist signs to fit your story. Dolly whispered. Then tell us. Why the grease? Why the seeds? Why the chimney stuffed like bread? The baker slammed his palm on the counter. Enough. I've fed this village 30 years. My hands are clean. Marple studied his hands. Broad palms. Strong fingers. Knuckles stained white. She turned to Slack. Ask him how he ties his sacks. Slack blinked. What? The flour sacks, Marple said. Everyone bound with a neat double knot. The same knot we found at the pantry door. Slack hesitated. The baker's jaw tightened. That proves nothing. Any man can tie a knot. Marple's eyes stayed fixed. But not every man ties the same way. Neat. Precise. Always doubled. Dolly felt a chill. It's his habit. His mark. The baker's face darkened. You spin gossip into ropes. Marple's voice cut clear. One habit always betrays. The widow slammed her hands on the table. I am innocent, she cried. Why won't you believe me? Slack leaned back in his chair, his eyes narrow. Because every road leads to you. Your lies, your pension, your fear. They all point here. She shook her head hard. No, not me. Him. Her finger shot toward the baker. The room fell still. The baker stiffened. You dare? He snapped. You think you can throw your shame at me? The widow's breath came fast. He knew. He always knew. He took the caraway. He touched the soot. He pressed the dough into the chimney. Slack snorted. Convenient tale. Blame the man with flour on his hands. Easy, isn't it? Marple leaned forward, calm as ever. Then answer one thing, madam. The seeds. The caraway. Why speak of them now? The widow trembled. I saw them. In his apron. Stuck to the cloth. He brushed them away, but not all. I noticed. Dolly looked to Marple. Could that be true? Marple nodded slightly. Seeds cling, they travel, they betray. Slack folded his arms. Seeds don't hang men. Proof does. And I've yet to see proof strong enough. The widow gripped the table harder. Her nails scraped wood. He wanted me ruined. He wanted me accused. He said my silence would feed him forever. But he made one mistake. Slack raised a brow. And what mistake was that? Her voice cracked. He thought I would never speak. The baker barked a laugh. She lies to save her skin. I never touched her chimney, never stole her seeds, never tied her knots. Marple's gaze moved from one to the other. Then perhaps you'll both explain. Why does every knot, every sack, every binding in this village bear the same neat double tie? The widow's lips trembled. Her eyes darted to the baker. Because he tied them, Slack growled. Stop with riddles. Speak plain. The widow's voice dropped. I saw him that night by my door. He tied the rope himself. His fingers quick, practiced. He thought no one saw. Dolly gasped. You saw him? The widow nodded slowly, her voice a whisper now. Yes, I saw him tie the knot. Marple held up the rope. The room fell silent. Look here, she said. Her finger traced the tie. Too neat, too careful. Not the mark of chance, not the hand of accident. Slack leaned closer, his eyes narrowed. He rubbed the strands. Tight, drawn even, as if measured. Marple nodded. Exactly. This knot is no stumble. It's practice, a habit. The widow shrank back. Her voice shook. I told you, I never touched it. The baker spat the words. Nor did I. Rope is rope. Anyone can knot it. Marple's tone stayed calm. Not like this. A sailor knots quick. A farmer knots loose. A baker knots tight. Doubled. Always doubled. Slack's face tightened. You mean to say... Yes. Marple cut in. This knot bears the baker's hand. The baker wiped his brow. Sweat beaded. You twist signs to suit your tale, Dolly whispered. But it matches. The sacks, the pantry, the chimney, all the same hand. Marple lifted the rope higher. Knots speak, this one shouts. The widow clutched Dolly's sleeve, her eyes wide. It's him. I saw his fingers. I wasn't mistaken. Slack exhaled slow, the doubt in his eyes now clear. The case turns, he muttered. All the signs lead his way. The baker's voice cracked. You think you've won? You think rope will hang me? It won't. Marple's gaze sharpened. One habit always betrays. Twist broke in. She turned the rope inside out. Another knot lay beneath. Smaller, rougher. A second hand had touched it. Marple's voice cut the air. This was tied twice, by two people, not one. The widow gasped, her face drained. Then I am not free. Someone else helped him. The baker's sweat rolled. Slack's jaw tightened. The room spun with unease. Marple's eyes locked on the baker. You tied it twice. The baker's hands shook. Marple laid the rope, the seeds, the greasy peel on the table. Explain these, she said. Her voice steady, the baker's lips pressed tight. I did nothing. Slack leaned forward. You feared scandal. That's the truth, isn't it? If the widow's secret came out, it would stain your shop. Customers would whisper. Business would fall. The baker snapped. She brought shame to the village. Her lies spread. If her scandal touched me, I'd lose everything. Marple nodded slightly. And so you silenced the blackmailer before he could speak, because he threatened you too. The baker's face darkened. He came to me, demanded coin, said he'd tell folk my flour was cut thin, that I stole weight from each sack. Lies, all of it. But he would have ruined me. Dolly gasped. So he bled both of you. The widow's voice shook. I never wanted his death. I only wanted peace. Marple tapped the lump of chimney dough. Peace doesn't need itself. Someone pressed this. Someone shaped it. And someone feared discovery more than poverty. Slack growled. Dough, soot, seeds, knots it all. Fits too neatly. And it fits him. The baker slammed the table. You've no proof. Marple's eyes narrowed. Proof lies in habits. Look at the soot smeared on your cuff. Look at the caraway seed still caught in your shoe. Look at the double knot you tied this very morning. You cannot help yourself. The baker wiped at his sleeve. A black streak came away. He froze. Dolly whispered, It's him, all along. It was him. Marple leaned closer. The motive was never the widow alone. It was your fear of ruin. The blackmailer held both your throats. But you struck first. The widow shook, tears falling. Then he cursed me with his death. He left me to hang in his place. Slack pointed at the baker. Say the word, and I'll take him in. The baker's breath came heavy. His fists clenched, his eyes darted between them. Then he roared. You can't prove it. Marple placed the peel on the table. Grease stains dark on the wood. See this, she said. Her finger traced the marks. Tallow, not butter. The same used in the chimney. Slack dropped a paper beside it. Seeds scattered across the surface. Caraway. From your stockroom. Dolly clutched her shawl, her voice low. All the missing buns, all the whispers. They lead here. The baker's face whitened. He glanced at the peel, then at the seeds, then at his own sleeve. Marple lifted a small jar. She tapped the rim. Collected from the hearth. Soot, packed with dough. A baker's hand pressed it. Slack slammed the rope down. Double knots, your knots, always neat, always twice tied. The widow covered her mouth. Her tears ran fast. It was you, all along, and I suffered for it. The baker's voice cracked. You twist signs. You trap me with dust and crumbs. No jury would believe. Marple looked straight at him. Juries believe habit, and habit binds tighter than rope. Slack's jaw set. He pointed. You will answer for this. Dolly stepped back, pale. She whispered. All those years we bought bread from his hands, and those same hands. She stopped, unable to finish. Marple laid her knitting aside, her voice calm. You feared ruin. You feared the blackmailer would spread his lies. But fear made you careless. Every act left a mark, and every mark points back to you. The baker's chest heaved. His eyes darted to the door, then to the window, then back to the table. Slack barked. Don't think of running. The widow sobbed louder. Please, take him away. Let me breathe again. The baker's hand twitched, his knuckles tight. He stared at the seeds scattered on the paper, at the grease, staining the peel. At the soot black on the jar, Dolly stepped closer to Marple. Is it finished? She whispered. Marple shook her head. Not yet. His mouth must speak what his hands already confessed. The baker's breathing grew ragged. He looked at Slack, then at Marple, then at the widow. His lips moved. No words came, only a growl. His hand darted fast. He seized the knife from the counter. The knife clattered to the floor. The baker's hands shook. I did it, he said, his voice raw. I killed him. Slack grabbed his arm. Say it clear. The baker sank into the chair. His chest rose heavy. He ruined me, came to me night after night, demanded coin, said I cheated weights, said he'd tell the whole village. Dolly's hand flew to her mouth. You did cheat. The baker's eyes burned. No, but once spoken, lies stick. People believe whispers, not truth. He would have destroyed me. Marple's gaze held steady. So you struck first? The baker nodded slow. I found him near the widow's gate. I offered coin to keep him silent. He laughed, said it wasn't enough, said he wanted more, said her secret and mine together made him rich. The widow gasped. He used me to corner you. Yes. The baker's head dropped. You were his shield. He bled you, then came for me. And I broke. I took the rope. I tied it neat. Too neat. My habit betrayed me. Slack's grip tightened. You admit all this before witnesses? The baker's voice cracked. I admit it. Let them hear. I killed him. I stuffed the chimney. I planted signs to turn eyes on her. But my own hands spoke louder than my lies. Dolly trembled. All this while she suffered in silence. The widow sobbed. I only wished to shield my pension. I never wanted death. I never wanted blood. Marple spoke firm. Habits trap killers. A double knot, a smear of soot, a seed caught in cloth. Each mark cries out. And truth always listens. Slack shoved the baker back. You'll face court. You'll hang for this. The baker slumped, his voice a whisper now. I lost everything long before. Let them take me. Silence fell. Dolly reached for the widow's hand, but the widow jerked away. Her face pale, eyes wide. She looked at Marple, her lips trembling. Then tell me, her voice rose sharp, if he is guilty, then who sent me the note? The widow held the paper tight. Her voice cracked. This is not over. Slack frowned. You already have a confession. What more do you want? She shook her head. Another note came. Same hand? No. The ink is darker, the line sharper. It's not his. Marple leaned closer. Show me. The widow placed the sheet on the table. Marple studied the letters. Different flow, different nib. The blackmailer's hand was heavy. This one is light. Someone else wrote it. Slack rubbed his chin. One copycat. Or another partner, Dolly whispered. Then she is not safe, even with him locked up. Marple tapped the corner. The ink is fresh, less than a day, and smudged as if hidden quickly. The widow trembled. Why me? Why won't it end? Slack's jaw tightened. Because one wolf howls, another follows. Maybe he wasn't working alone. Marple nodded. Greed breeds company. Secrets spread hands to many pockets. Dolly clutched her shawl tighter, her face pale. They won't stop until she breaks. Marple's gaze sharpened. No, they won't stop until we see the other hand. A knock broke the moment. A constable entered. He held another envelope. Found at her door again. Slack snatched it. He ripped it open. Another line stared back. One debt remains. The widow cried out. No more. Leave me. Slack muttered. It unsettles me. First a killer's confession, now fresh threats. This smells wrong. Marple leaned closer to him. Because it is wrong. 2 scripts, 2 inks, 1 confession, yet another shadow still moves. Slack frowned deeper. You mean someone else still pulls strings? Marple nodded once. Yes. Someone who wants her ruined, no matter who hangs. Dolly looked toward the sideboard. Her hands shook. She pulled at the drawer. It creaked open. Inside, folded papers lay stacked. She lifted the top one. Her voice faltered. Names. Another list of names. The sentence came quick. The baker stood in the dock. Guilty. Slack delivered the news flat. Life gone. Rope waits. The widow sat silent, her hands folded tight, her eyes wet but steady. Marple leaned forward. You are cleared. The shadow is lifted. The widow whispered back. Am I? The notes still come. Dolly rubbed her arm. You are free, dear. That's what matters. But her own face betrayed doubt. She glanced at Marple. She saw the same unease. Slack tried to sound sure. Justice is served. The killer faces the law. The village will rest now. Marple shook her head. No, Inspector. The village rests too easy. Silence breeds more silence, and silence feeds the wolves. The room stilled. Slack frowned. You see shadows where none stand. Marple answered firm. I see habits. Habits never lie. One man hanged. Another hand still moves. Do not forget that. Villagers avoided eyes in the lane. No more whispers. No more open talk. But their mouths stayed tight, and their silence spoke more than their words. Dolly sighed. Strange. Gossip dies when we most need truth. Marple nodded. They fear exposure. They fear being next. Fear binds tongues better than rope. The widow walked free that day, her steps slow, her back bent with weight unseen. Dolly asked gently, "Will you be safe now?" The widow's reply came hollow. Safe is a word for other women. That night, Dolly joined Marple for tea, both quiet, both heavy with thought. Dolly broke the silence. Will this truly end? Marple stirred her cup, her eyes fixed on the door. Endings are rare, Mrs. Bantry. Secrets breed seeds, and seeds spread. The knock came sudden, hard, sharp. Dolly jumped. Marple rose slow. She opened the door. No visitor, only an envelope on the step. She lifted it. The wax seal cracked under her fingers, a single line inside. One truth still waits. Secrets are heavier than truth. Marple said it plain, her eyes on the fire. Dolly stirred her cup. You think she'll recover? Marple shook her head. She will live, but not recover. Lies cut deeper than hunger. Hiding truth invites ruin. Always. The widow sat at the corner, her voice low. I will never lie again. Never. I carried the weight too long. It poisoned every step. Dolly reached out. Her hand touched the widow's. You're free now. That matters most. The widow nodded. But freedom with shame still binds. I lost friends. I lost trust. The pension saved my body, but nearly cost me my soul. Marple folded her knitting. Truth is costly, but lies bankrupt more. Slack entered with his usual heavy step. All finished, he said. The baker pays. Justice stands. Marple looked at him. Justice stands half-built. One wall raised, one still bare. Slack frowned. You mean the notes? Yes. Marple's tone sharp. One hand wrote in dark ink. Another wrote in light. Two voices. One gone. One remains. The widow's face paled. Then I am not safe. Dolly hugged her close. You will be safe here. We'll see it through. Marple's gaze hardened. Safety never comes from silence. It comes from truth told early, told plain. Remember that. The widow whispered. I do. I vow it. Never again will I hide, even if it costs me everything. Dolly leaned back in her chair, her lips tight. I still don't like it. Gossip may die, but fear lingers. This village will never forget. Marple nodded. True. Fear leaves scars, and fear makes liars of us all, unless one dares speak first. The widow lifted her veil, her eyes wet but steady now. Then I will speak. Always. Marple rose. She placed her hand on the table. Good. Let this be your cure. Secrets breed shadows. Truth keeps them out. Dolly sighed. But shadows still watch, don't they? Marple's face gave nothing away. Her eyes drifted to the window. They do. And until we see the last hand, none of us are finished. The room sank quiet. The clock ticked slow. A sound broke it. A knock at the door. Sharp, deliberate. Dolly jumped. The widow froze. Marple walked forward. She opened the door calm. No. Caller. Only another envelope on the step. She opened it slow. Her eyes read the line. One truth remains.